Hi, friends. This is Teresa. Kim and I would like to take a moment to apologize for the poor sound quality of the very special Holistically Curious episode that you're about to listen to. Our amazing guest, Lou Martin, lives in Ireland, and we knew that there would be some challenges in recording someone that was that far away from the U.S. And sure enough, we experienced those problems. However, the information that Lou Martin imparts during this episode and just the truly amazing character that is Lou are so significant that we couldn't do anything but share this episode with you, regardless of quality. We hope that you'll enjoy the episode, and again, please forgive us for the sound quality. Hi, friends. Welcome to a special edition of Holistically Curious. For the special episode, our dear friend Lou Martin is joining us. Lou is a gifted channeler. Is it channel or channeler?
Either way.
He's a gifted channel, teacher, healer, and author based out of Bandon, Ireland.
That's right, Teresa. And we've been wanting to have Lou on as a guest, not only because he's just a completely delightful human being, but Teresa and I, we both had a profound channeled reading from him and his guides. And we knew he was the perfect person to have on the show to talk about the topic today, which is channeling. So welcome in, Lou.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Great to be here. Yeah, Teresa, technically, the channel is the doorway, the energy that spirit brings through. And then the spirit guide is what we channel. So you can be a channel or be a channeler. Either one is absolutely appropriate.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool, Lou. Well, let's dive into this thing here because I have had many readings, but I don't exactly know what a channel is. And you've kind of just said, your guide works through you, but can you kind of just explain just a nuts and bolts? What is a channel?
Sure. With pleasure. And it's great to be here with both of you. And I so value our connections that we've already had up until now. So it's a real joy for me to be here today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So channeling is something that we all do every day. I'm channeling the husband or the boyfriend or the employee or the teacher. And we all have these little kind of personas that we take on and let go of throughout the day. To be a channel with spirit is just, it's a skill that anyone can learn to do. I learned to do it taking a class in 1992. And then after, this is like a 2-week class with a wonderful channel, Cheryl Taylor in Los Angeles. And somewhere after that class, I went for a reading myself with another wonderful channel and teacher named Susan Drew. And Susan held my hands and activated me energetically. And she said, now you'll start channeling your guides. And that turned out to be true. So it's just connecting, raising our vibration and connecting energetically. And to me, I'm channeling my higher self and whatever spirit guides are wanting to communicate through myself or through people I'm working with.
Interesting. So that's one thing I was curious about because I know some channels have one particular guide that they always work with. So do you work with multiples then?
Well, it's a great question. Patricia Coder-Robles, who's one of my favorite teachers and is a great channel, she calls her guides the company of heaven. And Dr. Peebles, who's a wonderful spirit guide that I've seen through several different channels, says that basically everything is available to spirit. So it's not quite as, what I'm trying to say is it's not quite as individual. Each spirit guide, there's a great blending that goes on. So whatever's needed and whatever is vibrationally that we're open to receive in the moment, that's what's available. Yeah, it's a tough question to really answer, with any specificity because it's the same energy. I can say that it's been exactly the same energy for me 25 years, etc. And I always feel like my analogy is it's like the sun bursts through a cloudy day and it's like, oh, that's wonderful. And while I'm channeling, I'm in this state of love and peace and happiness and positivity. And I'm usually feeling great for hours afterwards every time I get to do it.
So would you say, because one of the things I wondered is how do you distinguish between your spirit guide or your guides and your higher self speaking to you? Do you know what I mean? Like in meditation, maybe you'll realize that your intuition, your higher self is speaking to you, but then is it an energetic feeling? You say the sun coming through the clouds. I mean, can you feel that difference?
Right. No, honestly, I can't. How I distinguish it is when I'm channeling my higher self and I'm open to their guidance and I'm working with a person or a group, the information that I get, I know is coming from their spirit guides or coming from guides that are there. Mm. So it's quite beautiful. It's always inspiring. It's always things I myself was not thinking of at all. I always learn in the process of doing it and receive so much myself, healing and inspiration in the process of getting to be of service to others. But it's very amorphous. It's quite fluid and flexible. It's not all, here's Bob and here's Helen and we know Bob's talking, we know Helen's talking. It's not like that. It's like, this is all spirit. It's all energy. It's all information. People will ask me to connect with the spirits of loved ones. And that will often happen as well. And I'll say, well, this is the energy I have. Does that seem right? And if it does, then I keep going with it. If it doesn't, then I go, well, I'm not sure there's anything there. Honestly, I want to come back to how simple it is and it's not so complicated. When you meditate, when you pray or do affirmations, you're training your mind how to be in that receptive state and how to be deliberate and intentional on being open and receptive to whatever message wants to come through. And then honestly, it's just trusting whatever energy comes through. You see, the safer we feel, the more vulnerable we become, the more relaxed we are. That's why it's such a joy to get to do this work, because Spirit is always, I promise you, moving my own stuff out of the way, simplifying everything to the nth degree, saying everything's fine, relax, let go. And like playing this music through me is what it feels like. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Lou, along those lines, when she held your hands, when she took your hands and said that you would now be able to channel, do you feel like she gave you a gift you didn't have before, or that she allowed you to awaken to something that was innate?
I think it's both. I mean, I really do believe I'm not doing anything that anyone else can't learn to do. And as I say, it's just about practicing being very deliberate, relaxed, and receptive, basically. Mm-hmm. We're in this great illusion of separation called physical reality. And my teacher, Lazarus, has said, you'll be surprised to learn, everyone, most of consciousness is not physical. So you in the physical, you're on a very particular path. Mm-hmm. So it's not so divided. It's not so separate.
Mm-hmm. And I think, like you said, Lou, I definitely can understand that trusting yourself and trusting your intuition is huge. To me, I can hear what you're saying, and it sounds very similar to the practice of Reiki, which I do. And it's just trusting that you have the ability and getting out of your own way and opening yourself up to that divine love and energy. It's really, really interesting. And so is it a matter of, do you sense that the more you trust, the more you practice, the more you as the beginning channel, is it something you just you feel like you increase your abilities simply because you're trusting yourself more?
That's well said. That's absolutely true. That's my experience.
Okay.
It's like learning anything new. Like what comes to mind is surfing, for example, which I don't know how to do, but I've body surfed, but for some reason that popped into my mind. At first, it's going to be difficult and confusing and challenging, and you're not going to do it well. But or riding a bike, whatever you like, playing an instrument, when you keep allowing yourself to practice and to trust that you can get better at it, you absolutely do, because Spirit moves through us. This is a lot of what Abraham talks about, that they are the non-physical spirit source is co-creating through us to the degree that we allow ourselves to partner with our inner guidance, basically. So practice is it. Practice is everything. Mm-hmm. That phrase from my guides, get better at what you practice.
So what about the energy? If you're channeling for another person or working with another person, how does their energy come into play? Are there some people that make it easier for you or vice versa?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Basically, that's right. Basically, what I do in sessions, as you both know, is, and I'll just give away all my secrets now. The message from...
Get your pens.
Yeah, get ready. Here it comes. The winning lottery number, as we say over here. Yeah? Safety, love, and support, right? In order for healing to happen, in order for Spirit to connect with me with my client or anyone, I need to feel, and I need to hold the space for others to feel safe, loved, and supported, right?
Right.
And we do, as we come together as equals with gifts to give and receive, as I say here, then we say, okay, you're saying is someone easy or hard? It's just creating that space. The practice of doing hundreds of sessions over the decades is I know how to help people find that space within themselves pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just get to hold that space with people. And what I find then is that I tend to do sessions in two parts. As you know, the first part is usually just chatting or doing a card reading. And that kind of helps people get clear on what the issues are and kind of get the mind and the ego out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we understand what's happening and the depth of what's possible, then spirit can kind of step into that space and really speak very directly to the person's heart. And that's where the biggest changes happen. So I believe when people show up to work with me, or anyone like me, they're wanting clarity and they're following their inner guidance from their higher self and their guides, etc. And like attracts like, we're coming together and we're creating that space where things can change and heal, and it always happens.
Mm. And you do that beautifully, Lou. As Kim mentioned, we've both had a session already with Lou, and safety, love, and support. When you said that resonates so much. I told Kim that during our session together, I told you I loved you. Like, I've never told anybody I loved them within the first hour, but
well, there you go.
You definitely establish that relationship where it's safe to be held in a loving energy.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Sure. Well, I have to confess, I pretty much fall in love with anyone I work with.
Aw.
Yeah, because honestly, I mean, really, there's just all this love coming through me. So there's so much of my own stuff getting out of the way. But the other part of it is truly, I love what I get to do. I love the opportunity to help people to heal their fears, doubts, worries, judgments, etc. Yeah, it really, at the end of the day, it really is about love. That's what allows the healing to happen.
Yeah, that's, I believe in that. And, it's funny because I think I already know the answer to this question, but I was kind of wondering if you've ever had a reading where your guides were telling you something and you didn't really feel comfortable relaying that to the other person, but...
Oh, sure.
Yes? Okay.
Sure. But I've learned to build a bridge and get over myself, you see.
Oh, good.
Yes. Yeah, that can happen. Or I can say something and then, some pain or fear or resistance or denial comes up around it. But you see, what's so amazing these days, especially, and when I chat with other people that are doing Reiki and working intuitively, energetically, creatively, there's just every day, there's just a little bit more energy to work with. Things are really clearing up and healing and deepening for a lot of people in service in this way. So, I mean, the true answer is about all of it, about, saying things to people that they don't want to hear. If I have clear guidance that this is the message to heal them, then I have to say that, and to the best, with love and respect, to the best of my ability.
Right.
I want to tell you this. There's only one time that I wasn't able to read somebody, and I was at a fair here in Cork City, and I was doing a card reading, and I was doing card readings like all day long, 3 cards or 10 cards or 5 cards, whatever. I looked at this chap, his girlfriend or wife had gotten the session for him, and I said, you really have no interest in this, do you? And he said, no, I really don't want to do this. So like, well, no wonder I can't get anything here.
Wow.
Do something more meaningful. So that is the only time that I can recall that, I didn't get any information about it.
Do you think it was because he just wasn't open?
Yeah.
He wasn't open and receptive.
Yeah, exactly. And you see, the great thing, my higher self and my guides and his as well, they're not going to violate his free will. They don't do that, So that's a great thing to realize, that if I'm inspired to say something, there's a good reason for it, and to trust that. And honestly, for me, one of the most exciting moments in any session is when new information begins to come into my mind, and start to see, how the pieces of the puzzle fall together. But I never really know, this is what I want to say, I never really know until people give me the feedback what something's.
Yeah, because you've put yourself to the side.
That's right. And it's their story. It isn't my story. So I'm just
right.
giving them, one card or one piece of the puzzle or one scene from the movie at a time. They know why something's meaningful, and that's seeing people's faces or hearing their voices and just feeling their energy. I can always tell if people are opening or closing to what's being offered. The other thing is, of course, that most of the time people are quite open and trusting and vulnerable and in their hearts once they feel that someone is really caring about them and is deeply listening to them. The other thing I love in sessions is when I can see the look on their face or hear the pause in the call and go, they're there. They're really in the deepest part of themselves, and they're really taking this in. That's kind of a holy moment for me when that happens.
Oh, I'm sure. That's got to be profound.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen. So when it does happen, it's like, okay, this is now really touched them deeply. Yeah. See, I really believe that when we're willing to go deep into our own emotional truth, of course, that's when the most powerful healing and the greatest changes can take place. Because we tend to live in the mind and on the surface of things. It doesn't change things fundamentally.
Yes, I agree with that.
Lou, you mentioned how much you love what you do, and it's a big part of the journey for you. But are there any aspects of it at all that you find particularly challenging?
Well, being self-employed as a spiritual healer has its ups and downs in the wide world. Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge for me, honestly, really is I absolutely have to walk the talk to the very, very best of my ability. And sometimes that's hard. I can know a lot and be able to do a lot, and I might still have things that I'm struggling with in my own life and, just wishing that they would go away so I could do more work or whatever. And Spirit is very patient and keeps putting my nose back into the place where it has my attention. But that's also the gift of it, is really that when you're doing this kind of work, there's always help. There's always support. And there's a lot of tools and techniques to help me move through my own stuff that I use every day of my life. So,
right.
I've also learned by Kim's connection via the Om Nation to such a great community that you're really surrounded by nurturing and caring people. And that's gotta be helpful.
Well, I rather insist on it, I'm afraid. I mean, for all of us, it's like I feel I had this spiritual awakening, this Kundalini awakening just before I turned 30. And this came after basically a decade of getting high every day. So I was on a pretty extreme path from one side of things to the other. I've been sober for 30 years now and practicing with spirit, learning about channeling. It is the most humbling and the most inspiring thing I know, because I truly do believe we're living in this cosmic moment when everything on the planet is destined to change. And I've been very blessed and privileged to know about this and to learn how to respond to all these cosmic changes that are happening in our lives and in our world. So I'm pretty stubborn too, which sometimes is helpful. So this to me is the only game in town. This is what it's about for me at this point. I want to help people understand how to live a meaningful life, and that God is not judging us, and there isn't some hell that we're all going to go to, and we don't have to live in fear. And this is a time of tremendous spiritual awakening and empowerment. And I was just looking at Abraham's great quote. She says, words don't teach anything, so you'll be teaching through the clarity of your experience. And that's really it. Again, we have to walk the talk. In order for what we have to offer to be believed and to be valued.
And I know doing what you do, and you put yourself out there and you do your live videos and your YouTube and things like that people put a lot of expectation on others that are healers and doing the work that you do. And sometimes that can be very difficult to live up to, but it also can probably be a good catalyst to help you on your path to stay on that road, That's
right. I was very privileged to get to study for a while with Reverend Michael Beckwith in Los Angeles at the Agape Church. And when, this is what comes to mind when you say that, and when people would want to kind of deify him and put him on a pedestal, tell him how great he was, and this kind of thing, which is true. He's amazing. But he would always turn it around. He would call it spiritual jujitsu. He would turn it around and say, yes, and you are also great.
Right.
Yes, you are also amazing. Yes, you are also a child of God who has everything available within you. So, yeah, that's that building the bridge and getting over ourselves. The guides say true power is always tempered by real humility.
I love that.
Isn't it so?
Yeah.
And so the more we live in our hearts and live in the moment, Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie and Marianne Williamson and Deepak Chopra,
so many great people.
Exactly. They're walking that talk for us as well. They're showing us, what's possible living that impeccably, really.
It kind of leads me into another question I had, which it's kind of one of those, what are the three things? But what would you say the three traits are, the three greatest traits for somebody to be a good channel? So humility.
Oh, no one's ever asked me that. That's great.
Something that's, what do you think of the three qualities of an individual that they need to have?
Sure. To be a good channel, yeah. I would say discernment and an ability to completely detach. And then, yes, humility and trust in equal measure. Because like we were saying before about I'm in my little castle here in Ireland and I'm from LA and I see the gigantic fires happening in Southern California with my family and friends there. And the same was happening, of course, a few months ago in the north with other friends up there as well. And all these earth changes that have happened since the eclipse in August, it was just one thing after another.
Yes.
I feel that people are really the greatest, this is what I'm trying to say, trusting our intuition is what I want to say, that the greatest gift anyone can give to themselves about their own spiritual empowerment or our own spiritual empowerment is learning how to trust your intuition. And of course, what I also want to say is women know this, living and breathing it every day of their lives, because you are much more connected to your emotions through your body and through the cycles and everything that the woman's body goes through. Whereas men can be extraordinarily stubborn and in our heads and detached from reality completely. So,
amen, my brother.
Thank you. God, I raise my hand on behalf of mankind.
Finally.
We have a lot. Yeah, well, here's one who's willing to say it, I suppose. I mean, I'm very conscious of this. And the other thing is, of course, not only that most of the clients I work with are women, because women are going through the spiritual awakening with greater intensity than men are so far, because of what I just said, because of women's emotional bodies and how more connected to the earth and the moon and the tides and everything women's bodies are emotionally, the physical and the emotional together. But that this is really that cosmic time of the divine feminine, the voice of womankind being greatly needed and deeply wanted by all of us. The feminine wisdom needs to come back into the world. I deeply believe that.
I agree.
Thank you. And I see this especially, of course, from all the indigenous brothers and sisters around the planet who've been holding the earth as sacred for thousands of years. And we're really living in the age of denial here. Like there's no problem and it's just going to be fine and we can just keep going. And my friends, it's a problem. And we have to, in my opinion, learn to think and feel more deeply from the heart and learn to, the other thing you ask about being a channel and whatever, I would say this as well about spiritual empowerment. Take time and make space every day to go deeply into peace. See, I know I've lived the frenetic life in the States and other places, and I'm not doing that at the moment by the grace of God. And if people don't have the time and space to tune into themselves, then as these energies continue to get higher and higher, it's going to get really crazy for some folks.
Yeah, because they're not grounded enough within their own spirit.
That's the word. That's the word. They're not grounded. Exactly. Yes. So you see, discernment, detachment, that says I can stand back from this, from my own drama, from the world's drama, and ask for clarity. What do I need to know about this? I heard Gabriel Bernstein say from the Course in Miracles, it's either living by seeking or living by guidance. And I believe that's the choice these days. And you see, when we go within, we have a connection to our higher self and soul and spirit and our guides. whether we know that's what that is or not,
Right.
you will always come back to peace because spirit is peace.
Well, I know which one I want to choose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it sure does. Don't you find, Lou, that, and you kind of touched on this, as we're seeing more and more upheaval both in nature, in the planet, but also in mankind on the planet, that we're striking kind of an interesting balance, because those that are in the awakened community, to me, seem to be becoming more awakened.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, planet Earth is all about harmony and balance, right? That's what Spirit teaches me, and the indigenous wisdom as well. And so when do we ever see this film Koyaanisqatsi?
No.
No? Okay. So that is a masterpiece from the 80s by a filmmaker named Godfrey Reggio, who I got to meet in New York once. It's life out of balance. And it's a indigenous phrase, that this is what life out of balance looks like. It's chaos. And so great to hear that the awakened community and people who would never relate to any of this, but are still, of course, finding truthfulness and integrity and honesty and responsibility and dignity and character and fairness, that's rising to the surface in defense of human life and the earth. And I know the Spirit, of course, will support all of us, no matter how we define ourselves, as long as we're willing. That's the other thing I really need to say about anything, channeling spirituality. It's all about the willingness. And when we're really stuck, or if I'm really stuck, I just say, I will to will thy will. And I give the situation to Spirit for its purpose. I try to get out of the way. And when I can come back to peace and let it go, then that creates what my guides call a space for grace. And that allows something new and different to show up.
Right. And then it's easier to also realize and to see more clearly what the ultimate purpose, which is always for our highest good. Yeah. But we don't always see that when we don't create, when we don't have that space. But when we create that space, then we're able to look at situations that we wouldn't have looked at positively before.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And the next step up from there, which I'm still struggling with, I promise you, is to see our problems as a blessing in disguise. Great. I don't know where the money for this is coming from. Fantastic.
Right. This is awesome.
This is a great opportunity for growth. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're all laughing as we talk about this, because this is living in the vibration of the problem. Of course, keeps the problem alive, like we're saying. So, somehow we need to suspend our disbelief. And, there is a solution to this, and there is an answer to this, and there is a resolution to this, and there is a way for this. So, that's the dance, is to focus on what we want and begin to feel what that feels like and to believe in that.
Yeah, it's a good point. And, I think it's nice that you own up to your struggle like everybody else, because right? Because we look at you're this wonderful channel, very highly spiritual being. And you still have to deal with all this humanness, like the rest of us lowly humans.
We're all, bless you, we're all in this thing together, as Abraham says. It's true.
Exactly. It just, it makes us, it makes all of us realize we're all in the struggle.
Yeah.
And we just need to help support each other and give love to each other and be there for one another when we need. And that's why what you do is so amazing, because when somebody needs that guidance and maybe they can't create enough space on their own, they need somebody else to be that channel for them. Yes, we have the ability to channel for ourselves, you say, but somebody who's maybe more in tune with that energy and is able to create that space a little more easily, we need that guidance. And so, it's really a gift that you offer people to be able to do that for them.
Well, thank you. I tried everything else. That's my answer to that, really.
Well, it's your calling.
Yeah, you did.
The guy who smoked enough weed in his 20s to, lay Jamaica out. I really tried. Tried everything else.
Well, you have to experience the world, in order to sense the difference. So
that's right. No, that's right.
So well done.
Thank you. Yeah, we all have these gifts inside of us. You see, And so much of the work that I do is with the inner child. And so much of the healing I do, even now, 30 years down the road, is still with the inner child, which, to come full circle, if I don't feel, or my client doesn't feel, or my friend doesn't feel safe, loved, and supported, then, we're all hitting the panic button. And we're saying it's the end of the world, disaster, catastrophe, loss of everything I care about, etc. So the good news is, when you go through these things over and over again, you do learn how to navigate through them. And the other things my guides say, so there's 4 things they want us to do every day. One is to meditate. Another is to pray or to do affirmations, to speak out loud what we want. The third is to keep a journal. These are my feelings. These are my hopes and desires, etc. And the fourth is to find and follow our hearts by looking for inspiration every day. What is uplifting? What is empowering? What is exciting? All of that. I've been doing these things for a while. And yes, I definitely have my stuck moments and bad moments. But then I crawl back to these practices and I just keep doing them until the needle moves again, until things shift. And Lazarus, my teacher for 30 years now, they say, nothing changes until you do. And boy, that's a humbling statement right there,
Right.
But it's good to know. It's good to know that if I change, the situation will be different.
Well, it's nice to know you have the power, it really is up to us.
Yes, that's right.
We have free will. So it's a gift from spirit. So we should utilize it.
Yes.
Yes.
It's true. It's true. We create our own reality. And this is the lifetime we're here to learn that consciously. That's why things are changing so dramatically.
It's a crazy time, my friend.
Yes, but you see, to give you a little inspiration here,
Yes.
everything is love or a cry for love. That's the Course in Miracles.
Right.
Say that again, Lou.
Sure. Everything is love or a cry for love.
I love that.
That's one of my favorites. Absolutely. So you see, when we're awake or half awake, however awake we are, or we're able to maintain that through our wild ride here every day, then grace and miracles and magic and success and opportunity and resource and relationships work together for good in a way that we recognize. When we're in the struggle in the cry for love of fear and lack and doubt and judgment and attack and defense and all of the rest of that, then the ego's taken over again.
Right.
And we've fallen asleep again.
It really is. All of those emotions can come back to whether you feel safe, supported, and loved or not.
Right. Exactly. And my guides say you must be willing to give to yourself what you're wanting life to give to you. So if I'm struggling with something, I try to recognize that as soon as possible, and then imagine giving that to myself, putting hands on the heart, closing the eyes, turning within. I am safe. I am loved. All is well. Everything does work together for good. Source does happen. You talk yourself back from the edge. And you go, oh, that's right. That's what sanity feels like. Thank you.
Yeah, it seems so simple, but I wonder how we got to this point. How did we get to beating ourselves up so much and not showing ourselves that love and support?
So here's another great quote from my guides. They say, you've created a dream that's so real, you've forgotten that you created it, and you've forgotten that it's a dream. Exactly. Isn't that interesting?
That's sigh-inducing. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So you go, okay, so that's the consensus reality. That's the collective unconscious. That's the default position of the illusion of separation of the mind and the ego in this world. So I want to be a force for good. I want to align to Mother Earth. I want to align to all the peacekeepers and the way showers of this world. I want to be in harmony and balance with my higher self, soul, and spirit. These kinds of statements, you see. And it's so important to say that out loud from time to time, because of course we're talking and saying things all the time. And I mean, I catch myself in this all the time. I'll say something and my vibration will drop right to the basement, and I'm like, wow, where did that come from? That's some old stinking thinking that I don't want to keep putting out there,
Right.
So the good news is, in this crazy time, The good news is that as the vibration of the planet gets higher and higher, as we move energetically from 3D through 4D into 5D, every guide says this is what we're all about in this lifetime. So as this continues to unfold, you see, it does get easier for us to recognize when we've slipped off the track.
Oh, I think you're right about that. You feel it right in your stomach.
Yeah, yeah. It's great. It's wonderful. And you see, when you're doing Reiki or you're doing your conscious business or you're being of service to others, networking, and God bless you, Kim, and you too, Teresa, giving to others, putting yourself in their position. What would I want if I were here? I see both of you do all of that, and it's a joy to see that. Then we're getting out of our own way, and we're saying, this is the energy of spirit coming through me. And of course, we all get blessed and we all get healed and prospered in the process of loving and blessing and healing each other.
Right.
But you see, if we just focus on ourselves too much, then we're like another drowning person in the ocean, thinking that we're not enough and there isn't enough and it's all is lost,
Yes.
And
it all boils back down to love and showing love and expressing and being willing to put yourself out there and give to others and put others first, and it'll change the world.
Yes, provided you see that you're also willing to give to yourself.
Right. Yes.
Can I just say, this is particularly for my women friends.
Yes. Are you talking to me, Lou? Is this one directed
Well,
at me?
I don't know. It could apply. It might be relative.
Okay.
Like specifically for you, Kim.
Okay.
Yeah. Take it if it works for you, Yeah. Because you see, when I've talked here about women and anger in my book and in my sessions, after years of working with women, my guides showed me undeniably, here's the rule book. Men are allowed to be angry but can't be sad, and women are allowed to be sad but can't be angry. You've both heard me say this, I'm sure. So you see, when women are allowed to express their emotional truth, this hurt me, this is not our agreement, I don't like this, that's not what you promised, that's not what I asked for. As women learn to be assertive in that divine masculine will, what's right and what's fair, which is truly happening big time in the culture in the States and all around the world right now. Great. It needs to happen. And when men can, take responsibility for their emotional impact, the women and the world, and say, I need help. I need to heal this. I need to look at this and maybe forgive myself or ask for forgiveness.
Right.
This kind of thing. That's where we come back into balance.
Well, that's definitely timely right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so incredible to share this time with you.
Thank you.
And for our listeners who are saying right now that they have not had nearly enough, Lou, I was hoping that you would, because who could?
Yeah.
I was hoping you kind of share with them the different avenues that they can discover your content.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, pleasure. So I'm on Facebook, of course, like the rest of the planet. And, it's Lou Martin. You can find me there. I have a group on Facebook called Awakened Spirits Network for teachers and teachings of consciousness. And you can ask to join that, or you can sign up to that. And then my homepage is for sessions, and my ebook and meditations and such is loumartin.eu, loumartin.eu. And then I have a YouTube channel as well, and a blog, earthheartjournal.wordpress.com.
Yeah, and Lou is available for readings, via phone, Skype, all that good stuff. So
Yeah, usually it's these days it's either Facebook Instant Messenger video. It's great, works great.
Okay.
Or I really also love Zoom. Yeah, I do that for one-to-ones and groups, and then we record it and send you all the goodies.
Yeah. So Teresa and I really can't recommend Lou high enough. He is just. His readings truly are a gift to yourself. It's something that I think would be amazing for you to kind of give yourself for the holidays to kind of start your new year off. So definitely reach out to him at www.loumartin.eu.
Great.
So appreciative to you, Lou, for coming on and taking this time with us today.
Sure, a pleasure.
And especially answering all of our questions with patience.
Yes.
Sure. Can I leave you with some channeling before we go?
Yes. Would love that.
All right. Great stuff. So let's go ahead. Thank you both. It's been a pleasure for me. Real joy. Let's go ahead and close our eyes and take a deep breath. Right. All right. Dear friends, here we go. Yeah, quick and easy. Dear friends, let's imagine 7 stars that spiral down through time and space, touching the crown of your head. Take a lovely deep breath. Relax and release. Relax and release. Relax and release down the 7 chakra centers. Crown, third eye, throat, heart center. Take another good breath. Relax and release. Relax and release. Relax and release. And one more time down the will center, the sacral, the root. Take a breath. Down the hips, the legs, the feet, down into Mother Earth. Relax and release. Relax and release. Dear friends, relax and release. Yeah, so here we come, just for a few moments, dear ones, to remind you of what your hearts already know. You are truly a spiritual being having a human experience, and we give heartfelt and sincere, eternal thanks, dear friends, for the opportunity to reach through time and space in this moment, and again, to remind you of what you know to be true. And as you allow yourself to listen to trust, and to follow your loving inner guidance, with each and every step, dear ones, you take another step closer to exactly the kind of life you've always wanted to live. We don't have to tell you that the world is filled with opportunities for change at this time more than ever before, and that's only going to continue as the next few years unravel here, dear ones, yeah? So you are those who are open and receptive to the information, the inspiration, and indeed the energies of healing, awakening, and of transformation, dear ones, so that you can allow yourselves to let go of everything that no longer serves you. Take a deep breath. And the best way we know to do that is to forgive yourself. Yeah, forgive yourself for those things that don't work, that didn't work, the frustrations, the pain, the loneliness, the fear, dear friends, the guilt, the shame, the blame. Let it all go. Take a deep breath. I forgive myself and I accept myself just as I am, dear friends. I forgive myself and I love myself just as I am. I forgive myself and I set myself free to be who I truly am. Take a deep breath. Dear friends, yeah, change happens in an instant, and this is a powerful catalyst for you right here and now, and there will be many others through your own divine free will that you will invite into your reality. We say it's an invitation because we are loving you all the time, and we are knowing the truth of you all the time, that you are a beautiful, powerful, spiritual being, having an amazing, an incredible, an exciting, and yes, a challenging human life in this lifetime, dear friends. The lifetime of lifetimes, we call it. Every one of you hearing this message has been preparing for a long, long time to be in the vibration of these changes and these choices, dear ones, that lead you to a new world, a new earth, and a new way of living in your reality. You are the bridge builders, the way showers, the map makers, whatever term you like. Dear ones, you're really of the vibration of the future of this planet, where everything does work together for good, where love is the law of the land, where humanity holds one another as the brother and sister that you truly are, and that you live in harmony and balance with the unlimited and miraculous creative energies of Mother Earth and of Spirit as one. We love you so. We bring our stars down. Take a deep breath. A symbolic energy, dear friends, above and below, left and right, before, behind, within and all around. Everything is literal and symbolic. You yourself are an idea in the mind of the Creator. When you align your will to the will of all that is, you will know and do know the peace that passes understanding, the happiness, joy, and freedom that life is meant to provide. We love you so. Peace and blessings. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste, and stay curious, dear friends.